action. Next, we shall discuss about the gonadotrope. And this gonadotrope will be stimulated by the gonadotropin releasing hormone. But why this gonadotropin releasing hormone is actually secreted from the arcuate nucleus parvicellular cell? These are the puberty, opioid, stress, and the prolactin. So one is the puberty, one is the opioid, one is the stress factor, and one is the prolactin. We can say PRL or prolactin. These are the stimulating agent which actually stimulate as well as the beta endorphin, and this actually stimulate which site? GnRH neuron. So gonadotropin releasing hormone neuron present in the arcuate nucleus parvicellular cell. Now from there, the pulsatile release of the GnRH will occur at the median eminence. How much GnRH will be released from the median eminence? This actually determine what will produce, either luteinizing hormone or the follicular stimulating hormone from the gonadotrope. How? If there will be slow pulse means one pulse, slow pulse GnRH will be released. Slow pulse GnRH will be released. That means one pulse per 3 hours. If there is one pulse per 3 hours will occur, then one hormone will produce from the gonadotrope. And if there is fast pulse, it is known as the fast pulse. Fast pulse means one pulse per hour. Then another hormone will be produced. Under both these circumstances, this GnRH will work on the gonadotrope, and it has similar receptor. Either it is fast pulse or the slow pulse GnRH concentration. It is known as the GnRH receptor. So this is the GnRH receptor present in the gonadotrope cell in the anterior pituitary. Now this fast pulse, when it is there, they actually produce FSH. Sorry, they actually produce LH. Sorry. And slow pulse will ultimately help to synthesis the FSH, follicular stimulating hormone. So again, when there will be release of the GnRH in the fast pulse level, that means one pulse per hour, every hour, it will work on the GnRH receptor, and by the action of the GQ and the G stimulatory alpha, both LH will produce and release from the gonadotrope. And if there will be less pulse, that means one pulse per 3 hours, gonadotropin releasing hormone, it will work on the GnRH receptor and it will produce follicular stimulating hormone. And this FSH and LH ultimately will work on which site? It is the gonadal cell. So they are actually work on the gonadal cell. They actually work on the gonadal cell types. So gonadal cell will have receptor for this FSH and LH both. So receptors are there for the LH and the FSH hormone, and it is actually G stimulatory alpha action. So again, G stimulatory alpha action will lead to phosphorylation of the protein kinase A, and they actually produce what? They actually doing steroidogenesis and the gametogenesis. Steroidogenesis, and by the action of the FSH, gametogenesis, and finally sex steroids will produce. So sex steroids will produce. Sex steroids will produce by the action of the phosphorylated protein kinase A and via the steroidogenesis and the gametogenesis. And this sex steroid will have several actions. These sex steroids are like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, like that, and they have several physiological action, diverse physiological action. So what is the long loop feedback inhibition here in this segment? These sex steroids like estrogen, progesterone, and the testosterone ultimately will inhibit the GnRH neuron by the long loop feedback inhibition, and this both FSH and the LH, they actually inhibit what? They actually inhibit this FSH and LH. They actually inhibit the GnRH neuron similarly by the short loop feedback inhibition. So this is the physiological effect of the GnRH and the puberty opioid stress and prolactin stimulating factor. On the other side, from the gonadal cell, another hormone that is produced is known as the inhibin. So inhibin is actually produced from the gonadal cell type, which is known as the inhibin. So this inhibin actually retrogradely inhibit the FSH also. So inhibin actually selective feedback. This is known as the selective negative feedback. This is known as the selective negative feedback. Selective negative feedback inhibition. So this is done by the inhibin, which is actually produced by the gonadal cell types by the action of the LH and the FSH. Okay, and this is all about our gonadotroph action. Along with that inhibin, there is another hormone is there. This is the activin. This activin basically trigger or stimulate this gonadal cell also produce another hormone which is known as the activin. And this activin actually stimulate the LH. So these are the different action of the inhibin and the activin. Okay, and finally we have the somatotrope. This somatotrope actually produce what? Growth hormone and the insulin like growth factors like that. So what are the triggering factors here by which the growth hormone releasing hormone neuron will be stimulated? This is the stress, exercise, starvation, acute hypoglycemia, and the aging. So stress, again, stress is the common factor. Stress, aging, then exercise, then starvation, acute hypoglycemic state, starvation, acute hypoglycemic state. These are the factors. Again, stress, aging, exercise, and the starvation are the important triggering factor for the stimulation of the GnRH. So growth hormone releasing hormone neuron. So growth hormone releasing hormone neuron is basically stimulated by this stimulating factor, and from there two types of hormone will be released. One is the growth hormone releasing hormone, and another one is the somatostatin. This growth hormone releasing hormone will work on the gonadotropin. This growth hormone releasing hormone will work on the somatotrope. So somatotrope is the cell where this growth hormone releasing hormone will work, and ultimately what hormone will be synthesis from here? Of course it is the growth hormone. Now what happens? Growth hormone, when it will come into the circulation, immediately 50% of this growth hormone will bind with the growth hormone binding protein. So growth hormone will bind with the growth hormone binding protein, and it will remain inactive. Rest of the 50% of the growth hormone will work at the several places. What are the several places? One is the adipocytes, one is the muscle, and one is the liver. Three areas are there where this growth hormone is actually working. So again, this growth hormone will work on the three sides. One is the muscle, skeletal muscle, of course. One is the adipose tissue, white adipose tissue, of course, adipocyte, and one is the liver or the hepatocyte. So these are the three areas where the growth hormone is actually working, and they are working via the growth hormone receptor. So growth hormone receptors are there, all these three sites. Growth hormone receptors are there, all these three sites. Growth hormone receptors are there, all these three sites. Now, what happens after the action of the growth hormone receptor? The JAK-STAT pathway, genus associated kinase, and signal transduction and activated transcript factor. JAK-STAT, genus associated kinase, and signal transduction and associated transcript is the pathway by which there will be production of the protein in the muscle. There will be protein synthesis. Increased protein synthesis is there. Increased protein synthesis is there, number one, as well as there will be decreased glucose uptake. So decreased peripheral utilization of the glucose is done by this growth hormone. So glucose uptake will be reduced by the action of the growth hormone in the muscle, and increase the lean body mass. As a result of this, there will be increase the lean body mass. So lean body mass will occur, increment will occur due to increased protein synthesis and decreased glucose uptake by the JAK-STAT pathway in the muscle. In the adipocyte, there will be also the JAK-STAT pathway mediated action, genus associated kinase, and signal transduction and associated transcript factor. So this pathway will produce what? Breakdown of the fat cells. So increased lipolysis will occur. So lipolysis will occur in the fat cell, as well as it also helps to decrease the glucose uptake. So peripheral utilization of the glucose is actually decreased by the action of the growth hormone. So glucose uptake here also reduced, and this way it work on the adipocyte. On the liver, it actually work in different ways. In the liver hepatocyte, when growth hormone will work on the growth hormone receptor, there is the growth hormone receptor. So growth hormone receptor is there in our liver hepatocyte, and where growth hormone will attached first. Now this growth hormone, when will work on the growth hormone receptor, they actually stimulate again the JAK-STAT pathway. So JAK-STAT pathway will be stimulated, and this JAK-STAT pathway will produce two types of effect. One, it will first produce the insulin-like growth factor 1, and also insulin growth factor binding protein, and acid labile subunit. All these three can be produced by this JAK-STAT pathway in one way. On other way, this JAK-STAT pathway also help in the gluconeogenesis enzyme synthesis. So it also help to synthesis of the gluconeogenic pathway enzymes like PPCK, glucose 6 phosphatase, fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase, like that. So gluconeogenesis enzyme synthesis will occur by this JAK-STAT pathway mediated action, and this insulin growth factor binding protein, insulin growth factor 1, and acid labile subunit, all these three can be interconnected or interconverted from the insulin growth factor 1. What happens? This insulin growth factor and finally work in the one way, it work on the insulin growth factor receptor 1. So here it is the area which is for the visceral organs, for the cartilage and the bones. So this is the representative cell of the visceral organ. Visceral organ number 1, then cartilage, and the bones, representation cell of these three areas, where insulin growth factor receptor is there, where work on the insulin growth factor 1. So IGF receptor is there, and IGF-1 will attach with this receptor. Multiple signaling process, via the multiple signaling process and the effects, it will produce osteoblast replication. Number 2, collagen synthesis, then more bone matrix formation, and increase the linear growth. So these are the 4 effects by the IGF-1. Again, what it will produce the collagen. So collagen synthesis will occur. Collagen synthesis will be done by the IGF. Second is that osteoblast replication will occur. So osteoblast replication will occur by this IGF. And number 3 is that bone matrix formation. Bone matrix formation will be done, and linear growth. Finally is the linear growth. So all these 4 action can be done by the IGF, insulin like growth factor 1. Now next part of this several types of action of the somatotrop is that when there will be somatostatin neurons synthesis increment, or the stimulation of the somatostatin neuron, which is also present in the somatotrops in the arcuate nucleus parvicellular cell. Apart from the gonadotropin releasing hormone, growth hormone releasing hormone neuron, there is also somatostatin neuron. So somatostatin neuron, if it is stimulated, it will produce what? It will produce somatostatin. Now this somatostatin is actually work on same cell, that is the somatotrop. And this somatotrop will have this somatostatin receptor, and this somatostatin receptor will do what? They are actually inhibit the growth hormone. They actually have action similar with the G alpha inhibitory. So G alpha inhibitory action will lead to decreased phosphorylation of the protein kinase A, and as a result of this decreased phosphorylation of the protein kinase A, ultimately somatostatin will do what? It will inhibit the growth hormone. On the other way, as there is production of the insulin growth factor 1 from the hepatocyte cell, this insulin growth factor 1 actually under physiological circumstances inhibit the somatostatin level. So by this way, this insulin growth factor inhibit the somatostatin, so that this somatostatin cannot inhibit the growth hormone from production from the somatotrop cell, and final physiological action can be smoothly occur. So here, that's why I am drawing here that the somatostatin, when work on the somatostatin receptor, it actually inhibit the growth hormone. But this growth hormone, as it will produce insulin growth factor 1, it actually inhibit the somatostatin. So how we can say that which one is the long loop and short loop feedback inhibition here in this process? Here it is the growth hormone. When it will come into the circulation, it will actually feedbackly inhibit the growth hormone releasing hormone. It is the long loop feedback inhibition. And this growth hormone releasing long loop, and this is the short loop feedback inhibition. And if there is production of the somatostatin, it will inhibit the growth hormone. And if there is stimulation of the insulin like growth factor 1 production by the growth hormone in the hepatocyte, it will in turn inhibit the somatostatin, so that growth hormone will not be inhibited. That is the thing you need to understand. Okay. And finally, lactotrop. This lactotrop will be produced which type of hormone? It is the prolactin, PRL. So this lactotrop will produce prolactin by the action of the prolactin releasing hormone. So this is also the neuron which is present in the arcuate nucleus, and prolactin releasing hormone neuron will be stimulated by the action of the stress by the action of the lactation. So all this triggering factor actually stimulate this prolactin releasing hormone neuron, and this galactotrope will produce prolactin by the action of the prolactin releasing hormone. This prolactin ultimately functioning as the mammogenesis, lactogenesis, galactopoiesis, like that. So mammogenesis will occur, then galactopoiesis will be done, and the lactogenesis will be done by this prolactin. And recently it is discovered that the arcuate nucleus prolactin releasing hormone neuron will also produce another type of hormone that is known as the prolactin inhibiting hormone. So prolactin inhibiting factor, or somewhere it is the dopamine, is actually inhibit this prolactin level. So this is the inhibitory hormone that is produced from the prolactin. And what is the long loop feedback inhibition here? It is the prolactin which is produced, it will inhibit the prolactin releasing hormone indirectly. This is the feedback inhibition process. Now one clinical importance, as we have already discussed in our hypothalamus, is the Chiari-Frommel syndrome. Chiari-Frommel syndrome is that if there is decrease the dopamine concentration or dopaminergic neuron pathway will be hampered, then unopposed action of the prolactin is there. Simply higher prolactin level will produce, and this prolactin level will produce galacturia, excessive milk secretion, galacturia. And another effect is that that prolactin, increased prolactin level also inhibit the LH and FSH. So LH FSH level, if there is reduced, that will lead to secondary amenorrhea. So secondary amenorrhea and the galacturia, both these two things can happen in the Chiari-Frommel syndrome. On the other way, if there is tumor present in the lactotrope, that will also increase the prolactin level. It is known as the prolactinoma. Prolactinoma is a disease where the tumor will occur in the lactotrope. So prolactinoma will be help to increase in the prolactin level. They actually doing galacturia and the secondary amenorrhea. Along with that, it will actually damage the optic chiasma. So optic chiasma will be damaged, and as a result of this, there will be bitemporal hemianopia. So this is the differentiating feature from the prolactinoma and the Chiari-Frommel syndrome, bitemporal hemianopia. So in this case, bitemporal hemianopia, what will happen? There will be bitemporal loss of vision. So this is the bitemporal loss of vision, which is known as the bitemporal hemianopia. Along with that, galacturia and the secondary amenorrhea will occur in case of prolactinoma. But in case of Chiari-Frommel syndrome, only these two features will present. One is the galacturia and one is the secondary amenorrhea in case of Chiari-Frommel syndrome. So this is all about our hypothalamo-pituitary axis and their hormones and their roles and the physiological process for synthesis and the secretion. Hope you will enjoy this tutorial session and learn a lot more things from this session. Thank you.